Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Chaitanya Manobhishtam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Twise Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for your kind association. Let's get started. We are continuing our study of Granthara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, entitled The Prayers of Queen Kunti Devi. And we are going to begin from verse number 40. Srimati Kunti Maharani is offering very beautiful prayers to Lord Krishna. Just one second. Shri Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah. Verse 40. Ime jana pada spridhaha supakvaushadhi viruddhaha vanadri nad udanvanto hi edhante tava vikshitaihi. Srimati Kunti Devi is praying to Shri Krishna. All these cities and villages are flourishing in all respects because the herbs and grains are in abundance. The trees are full of fruits. The rivers are flowing. The hills are full of minerals and the oceans are full of wealth. And this is all due to your glancing over them, O Krishna. Srimati Kunti Maharani is praying like this. She does not want Krishna to leave. She wants Krishna to be always there in their lives. And for this reason, she is very earnestly, very sincerely praying. She's saying, Hastinapur and all the villages. Oh yes, thank you for the reminder. We forgot to recite our verses. So let's recite. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya yatonvayaditaratas charteshva vignyaswarat Tene brahmaridaya adikavaye muhyanti yatsurayah tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha dhamna svena sada nirastakuhakam satyam param dhimahi dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam Śrīmad Bhāgavate Mahamuni Krite Kim va parairishvaraha Sadhyoridhyavaruddhate trakritibihi Shrushrushubhistat kshanam Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam Shukamukhadamrita dravasam yutam Pibata Bhāgavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha savay pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje ahaitukya pratihata yayatma suprasidati vadanti tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam advayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti shabdyate Atah Pumbir Dvija Shrestha Varnashrama Vibhagashaha Swanushitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshanam Etecham Sakala Pumsah Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge Tadvag visargo janataga viplavo yasmin pratishlokam abhaddhavatyapi namanyanantasya yashvankitani yat shrunvanti gayanti grinanti sadhavaha yasyam vai shruyamanayam krishne paramapurushe bhaktir utpadyate pumsaha shokamoha bhayapaha atma ramascha munayo Nirgrantha urukrame kurvantya hetu kim bhaktim itham bhuta guno harihi Tvaimyananya vishaya matir madhupate sakrit pratim udvahatad adha gange vaugham udanvati Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So Srimati Kunti Maharani is saying that Hastinapur, all the neighboring cities and villages, they are flourishing because of Krishna's glance. She is giving credit to Krishna that there are fruits on the trees, there are grains in the fields, there is water in the river, there are minerals in the mountains, and there are precious jewels like pearls in the oceans. All this abundance of natural resources is leading to prosperity in the kingdom. And Kunti Maharani is saying, oh Krishna, this is all because of you. She's not giving any credit to herself or her sons. All credit to you, Krishna. Srila Prabhupada has given very beautiful purport, as usual. So let us read that. All the translations and all the purports are by our beloved founder Acharya. Om Vishnupad Paramhams Parivrajaka Shtottar Shata Shri Śrīmad Abhay Charana Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Purport. This is verse number 40, chapter 8 of the first canto. Srila Prabhupada writes, human prosperity flourishes by natural gifts. Srila Prabhupada is saying that our prosperity depends on natural gifts, not on synthetic gifts, natural gifts. Human prosperity flourishes by natural gifts and not by gigantic industrial enterprises. Honestly, 4G, 5G, LTE, high-speed internet, Wi-Fi, MacBook Pro, and touchscreen computers, these things will not make the human civilization happy. Because it's been years we have had all this, and still we have wars, still we have cheating, security breaches, we have gun violence, we have communal riots. We are not a happier society just because there has been technological advancement. Now there are more apps on the smartphones. There is TikTok, there is so many Netflix and Amazon video service. So many different apps have come, and none of them is making us happier. There are more games, I'm sure, video games. Are they making us a better civilization? Not at all. Srila Prabhupada says, human prosperity is not by gigantic industrial enterprises, but it is by the simple natural gifts. The gigantic industrial enterprises are products of a godless civilization, and they cause the destruction of the noble aims of human life. What is the aim of human life? To attain Krishna. Savaya pumsa paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaja. That is the noble aim of human life. And all these industrial enterprises, hardware industry, software industry, all these industries, they simply take us away from the noble goal of human life. And they make us more and more godless. More and more our consciousness is polluted by materialistic values. Now, there are hoardings that say, undo, I do. Undo, I do. Because here in America, when you get married, the priest says, do you promise that through thick and thin, both of you will stay together? Through happiness, through sorrows, through trials and tribulations, both of you will be together. Do you promise? And they say, I do. I do means they're getting married. And now there are divorce lawyers, they have big hoardings near the highways that say, call this number and undo, I do. Undo, I do. This is our civilization. Undo, I do. Hare Krishna. Natural gifts such as grains and vegetables, fruits, rivers, the hills filled with jewels and minerals, and the seas full of pearls are supplied by the order of the Supreme Lord as He desires. Material nature produces them in abundance, or restricts them at times. So what are the natural resources? Milk, grains, vegetables, fruits. The ocean will give precious pearls. The mountains will give us gold and silver and different minerals. These are all precious things. But who is producing this? Not some CEO who is going to exploit us. Not some corporation. It is Krishna. It is Krishna. On Krishna's order, the demigods produce all these, or they restrict. So all the natural calamities that we see, hurricanes, floods, volcanoes, tornadoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, even pandemics, this is the collective price that we all pay as a civilization for our sins. This is a fact. The natural law is that the human being may take advantage of these godly gifts by nature and satisfactorily flourish on them without being captivated by the exploitative motive of lording it over material nature. Srila Prabhupada is saying, in a sense, that we should be satisfied by these natural gifts that come. What are the natural gifts again? Clean air, clean water, milk, fruits, vegetables, grains, the natural minerals, natural precious stones, not artificial jewelry, not pearls produced in some factory where they have these oysters and they harvest and cultivate these oysters. That's not real. But that is all godless industrialization. We have fake diamonds, we have this, so much plastic jewelry, fake jewelry, all those things are there. But human beings should be satisfied with the natural gifts that come. Simple clothes, nice, healthy, organic food consisting of milk, whole grains, fruits, vegetables. So this is what Srila Prabhupada is teaching us. This is simple living. But how should be our thinking? Our thinking should be high. Thinking about the highest. Purushartha Shiromani. That is Krishna Prem. Thinking about how to become God conscious, how to become Krishna conscious. That is simple living and high thinking. And the modern civilization is simply living for sense gratification and hardly thinking about God. All these universities with all these thousands of courses that they offer, nobody is teaching us who we actually are, who is the creator of this whole universe, what is our relationship, and what is our duty as a human being. Ahara nidra bhayamaithunamscha samanametat pashubhir samana. Dharmo hitesham adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pashubhi samana. Without dharma, we are no better than animals, pashus. So we should be satisfied with natural gifts that come. The more we artificially increase our demands, the more we'll get entrapped in this complex web of material life. The more we attempt to exploit material nature according to our whims of enjoyment, the more we shall become entrapped by the reaction of such exploitative attempts. If we have sufficient grains, fruits, vegetables, and herbs, then what is the necessity of running a slaughterhouse and killing poor animals? Simple question. If we can be satisfied with grains, milk, fruits, vegetables, what is the need of keeping animals under very, very uncomfortable, inhuman conditions, unethical conditions, and slaughtering them? The egg industry, the meat industry, the fish industry, causing so much pain to the poor animals who have the ability to perceive pain. They have the ability to experience fear. Haven't we seen the cows and the sheep, how they feel afraid? They are animals. Even the fish, they have a tendency to run away from danger. And we simply asphyxiate them by pulling them out of water. We kill the fish like that. Millions of fish are being killed all over the world. What is the need when we can be satisfied with milk, vegetables, grains, fruits, herbs? All of us are vegetarian. Are we not living? Are we not healthy? Are we not able to work in the same world like others? Are we less efficient at work? So many of us get awards in our workplace, isn't it? So it's not that eating meat is necessary. Minerals are produced in the hills. Yeah, minerals are produced in the hills. There are gold mines. And the jewels are produced in the ocean, like the pearls. If the human civilization has sufficient grains, minerals, jewels, water, milk, etc., then why should it hanker after terrible industrial enterprises at the cost of labor of some unfortunate men? So what we do is we have all these industries, many of them are unnecessary, and we cause so much unnecessary pollution. We pollute the water, and now the river water is not potable because it's been polluted. So now we have reverse osmosis plants. We have chlorination of the water, and we think we have made such advancement. And we sell water. Now water also is not free. You have to pay. And the most expensive water is the spring water, which is natural. There's nothing. It's just natural water from a well, from a natural spring. And it's most expensive. $4 per gallon, almost as expensive as milk. Why? Because all the natural water in the rivers, we have polluted. Just see how our civilization is. We act whimsically for sense enjoyment, and we make our life difficult. We simply make our life difficult. And we have water treated with ultraviolet rays to kill the last bacteria in the water. And chlorinated, it's reverse osmosis, carbon filters. And now you buy this water in a plastic bottle and drink it and think that you are very advanced. Purified water. It says purified water. Krishna has already purified it, but you have polluted it. And now instead of eating like this, you want to eat not like this also. You're putting your hand under your leg and eating and drinking like this and thinking, I am so advanced. You are eating like this, but I am eating like this. So this is our modern civilization. We are simply fools, educated fools. There is no other word to describe our modern civilization. But all these natural gifts are dependent on the mercy of the Lord. But we don't like anything natural. You like to have those Cheetos and those chips with 10, 15 ingredients containing things that we cannot even pronounce. We don't know what they are. All those artificial colors, FD, blue, 32 and 17 and what, we don't know what that is. But we think very nice. It's got nice color. It's airtight packed in a plastic bag, fresh until date stamped on it. This is very good. But our mother will make nice banana chips at home, nice potato chips. No, they are not good. We want those Lay's chips produced by some meat-eating corporations who are after simply profits and putting plastic bag after plastic bag in the environment. What we need, therefore, Srila Prabhupada is telling, what do we need? What we need, therefore, is to be obedient to the laws of Lord Krishna and achieve the perfection of human life by devotional service. Devotional service. It is so wonderful. I remember being on a yatra once, and all the food was organic. All the plates and cups were made of leaves. There was not a piece of plastic in the whole yatra, and no pollution. Everyone had to bring their own water bottles, and we filled them from the wells or the taps. And it was so good. And it was a very small place, and we were 4,000 people. And everything was fine. I remember we went to one ancient Goswami temple where only one person could go at a time, and we were 4,000. And we only had few hours to take darshan. So what happens at the Dadar station or the CST station? There's literally fighting and pushing and shoving when there is crowd. When I came to America, I thought Americans are very cultured. And they are, materially. They will always open the door, appreciate it. They will be very, say all these terms, thank you, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Little bit they touch you. They'll say, oh, I'm sorry. Very polite. Yes, they are. But then I saw what happened. They are polite because there are so many resources here. There is no crowding. There is a place for everyone to sit, unlike India, where there is so much crowding. But when I was in New York, I have seen it myself. When there is crowding at some of those stations in the subway, it is exactly like Bombay. I have seen it with my own eyes. People shove, they push. There is no sorry, appreciate it, thank you. They just push. I remember once I was traveling by subway and there was some accident somewhere, so some trains were cancelled. And now there was a big crowd at the station, rush hour traffic. And when finally the subway came, people were not caring. They were pushing and shoving. It reminded me of Bombay. So the point is, it is human nature to act on these selfish impulses. And artificially, through education, through culture, we can cover it up. But when there is spiritual education, it is very natural. And this is what I want to tell you. So this is what I saw in Bombay. This is what I saw in New York. And now I will tell you what I saw in Mayapur during the yatra. When we were 4,000 devotees and we went to one small ancient Goswami temple where only one human being could enter at a time. And we had only a couple of hours to take darshan. And now we are 4,000 human beings. So it is naturally expected that there is going to be pushing and shoving. Not at all. We all got into a single file and nobody was allowed to give obeisances. You come outside and then you offer obeisance. Just go take darshan, come out in one line, like one big, line of, humans. And first the Matajis went, then the Varishta Vaishnavas went, Mataji, the children, then Varishta Vaishnavas, and then Prabhus. And in 2 hours, everyone had darshan of the beautiful deity. There was no stampede, no pushing, no shoving, no one fell. Everything was fine. That's when I realized that if there is spiritual culture, if there is culture of Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sahishnuna, humility, tolerance, then even in crowded situation where the resources, infrastructure is minimum, still there will not be fights. Still there will not be fights. So it was very wonderful experience. So the real problem, my Guru Maharaj, Sri Radhanath Swami Maharaj, very famously said, once he was challenged, that the real problem is population explosion. He was giving a class and he was challenged that, what you're saying, all this God consciousness and all that is okay. But the real problem is population explosion. How do you deal with that? For that, we need to do abortions to control the population. We need to have a very robust contraceptive industry because the real problem is population explosion. There are more than 6 billion people on this planet. The planet cannot hold so many human beings. What about population explosion? And I remember my Guru Maharaj very famously said, the real problem is not population explosion. The real problem is what the population is doing. Because in Maharaj said in Dwarka, there were millions and millions of people staying. And there was no problem of crowding or population explosion. So real problem is not population explosion. The real problem is what the population is doing. And this I experienced in the yatra. 4,000 people, single file, no problem. No problem. Therefore, training is required. Spiritual training is required. The indications by Kunti Devi are just to the point. Srimati Kunti Devi desires that Krishna's mercy be bestowed upon them so that natural prosperity will be maintained by Krishna's grace. By Krishna's grace. This is the bhav of Kunti Maharani. That we don't want prosperity with our own endeavors. We simply want to be obedient to you. We simply want to love you, Krishna. We simply want to serve you, Krishna. And then whatever you naturally give us, we are satisfied with that. That is real culture. Verse number 41. Atha Vishvesha Vishwatman Vishwamurte Swakeshu me Sneha Pasham Imam Chindhi Dridam Pandushu Vrishnishu. This is a very famous verse, my dear friends. And Kunti Maharani has offered such prayers which we don't find anywhere in our Vedic literature. Therefore, the prayers of Bhagavatam begins with the Kunti Stuti. The first Stuti, as we saw in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, is Kunti Stuti. I mean, who has prayed? Vipada Santuta Shashwat, Tatra Tatra Jagadguru. Let me get vipatti, let me get calamities, crisis eternally. Shashwat. No one has prayed like that. But here Srila Prabhupada is saying, the indications by Kunti Devi are just to the point. She desires Krishna's mercy be bestowed. That's all. So it's not that Kunti is praying for prosperity or Kunti is praying for vipatti. She's neither praying for sampatti nor she's praying for vipatti. She's neither praying for prosperity nor is she praying for calamities. Even though she's saying, give me calamity after calamity. Please understand the bhava of Kunti Maharani. She is not attached to prosperity. She is not attached to calamity. She is attached to Krishna. And she has seen by experience that whenever there is calamity, Krishna comes. So she's saying, then give me calamity. Because that's how I will get Krishna. If Krishna comes by prosperity, then give me prosperity. But she has seen that Krishna comes very easily when a devotee cries out in a calamity. And she's giving so many examples. Poisoning, gambling match, Asat Sabha, then Durvas Muni. All these crisis situations, Krishna came. So she's saying, all right, then give me crisis. If that's what it takes to get Krishna, then give me crisis and give them eternally. Because all I want is Krishna, nothing else. So this we should understand. Now here, she's making another profound statement, which is very difficult to find. Just listen to this verse. Ata vishvesha vishvatman vishvamurte swakeshu me sneha pasham imam chindi. Cut the ropes of affection. Dhridam pandushu vrishnishu. Oh, this is a historical prayer. Let's read the translation. Srila Prabhupada translates. Srimati Kunti Maharani is praying to Lord Krishna. Oh Lord Krishna, Lord of the universe. Oh soul of the universe. Oh personality of the form of the universe. Please, 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 therefore, sever the tie of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. Hare Krishna. Pandavas are Uttamadhikaris, and so are the Vrishnis. These are Nitya Siddha Bhaktas. And Kunti Maharani is saying, what about Shadvidhi Priti Lakshanam? Dadati Pratigrinati Guhyam Akhyati Praschati. What about all that? Kunti Maharani is saying, Chindi, just cut this Drida Pash, this affection. With whom? With the Pandavas and with the Vrishnis. Because Kunti Maharani is Vasudeva Maharaja's sister. So she's related to the Vrishnis through Vasudeva Maharaj. She's the sister of Vasudeva. She's the paternal auntie of Krishna. And she's the mother of the Pandavas. So she has got thick, very intimate family connection with the Yadus and with the Pandavas. She's saying, cut both. Such a bewildering statement. We want attachment to devotees. And Kunti Maharani is saying, cut. But now look at the brilliant purport that Srila Prabhupada has incorporated the commentaries of Chakravarti Path, commentary of Jiva Goswami, everything is there. Sridhar Swami. So let's see how Srila Prabhupada analyzes this verse. Kunti Maharani is saying, oh Lord of the universe, cut off my ties with the Pandus and the Vrishnis. Okay. Why would she pray for such a thing? Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport. A pure devotee of Lord Krishna is ashamed to ask anything in self-interest from Krishna. Everybody agrees? A pure devotee will not ask anything from Krishna. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaya. Not even liberation. Mama janmani janmanishvare bhavatat bhakti ahetuki. Because they do ahetuki bhakti. There is no motive. Okay. So pure devotee is ashamed to ask anything from Krishna for self-interest. Now listen to Srila Prabhupada. But the householders, except Amrit Karan Prabhu, all of us, the householders are sometimes obliged to ask favors from the Lord. The householders are sometimes obliged to ask favors from the Lord. Can you raise your hand and give an example of a householder in the 10th canto who was obliged to go to Krishna and ask for a material favor? Yes, Shama Vallavi Mataji.
Sudama, Prabhuji, Sudama. His wife told you go and ask Krishna.
Very nice. His wife encouraged him to do that. Any other examples? But Sudama is a very good example. Okay. So Srila Prabhupada is saying, but the householders are sometimes obliged to ask favors from the Lord, being bound by the tie of family affection. Vamshivardhan Prabhu, you have another example? Give.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So Akrura?
What about Akrura?
Akrura was sent by Kamsa as a favor to bring Krishna and Balaram back to Mathura.
That was more of a administrative obligation because he was the minister of Kansa and Kansa ordered him. But that's okay. Yeah, that also is acceptable. No problem. Yes, that's also okay. No problem. Sudama example is a classic example where his wife told for family obligations. So here it is said that sometimes householders are obliged to ask.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji. Shantaradhika Mataji.
Sandipni Muni also he asked Krishna for his children.
Yes, that is a very good example. That is a very good example. Nice example. And Devaki Maharani also later on. Good. Srimati Kunti Devi was conscious of this fact and therefore she prayed to Lord Krishna to cut off the affectionate tie of her own kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. I'm going to read this in one flow so it's very clear. A pure devotee does not want to ask anything for self-interest from Krishna, but householders are sometimes obliged to ask. Srimati Kunti Maharani knew this, therefore she's praying, cut off my ties with the family. Because I don't want to deviate from the standard, highest standard of bhakti, which is ahetuki bhakti. Family ties can sometimes pull us down from that standard. We have to ask something. So should I just cut off my ties from family? How beautiful is that? But this is one reason. Now see, let's read on. The Pandavas are her own sons and the Vrishnis are the members of her paternal family. So she's related on both sides. Krishna was equally related to both families also. Even Krishna was related. Krishna was related to the Vrishnis because he appeared in the Vrishni Vamsa, his son of Vasudeva Maharaj and Devaki Maharani. And how is he related to the Pandavas? Raise your hand and explain. How is Krishna now related to the Pandavas? Directly. Raise your hand, please.
Cousin brother.
Cousin brother, yes. But that is still through the relationship of the, through the paternal auntie. So yeah, that is definitely there, but there is one more relationship. Sandeep Prabhu?
So,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, is it Subhadra Devi?
Yes, yes. Krishna's sister is married to Arjun, na? So that relation is also there, very strong relation. So Krishna is equally related to both the families. Both the families required Krishna's help because both were dependent devotees, Sharanagat Bhaktas. So let's see the analysis of Srila Prabhupada. The Vrishnis and the Pandavas, the Yadus from Dwarka and the Pandavas from Hastinapur, both are related to Krishna. Both were dependent devotees, Sharanagat devotees, and Sharanagat devotees means Goptritve Varana, accepts Krishna as the maintainer. So they required help from Krishna, both the families, repeatedly, through so many attacks and calamities. Both the families required help from Krishna. Srimati Kunti Devi wished Shri Krishna, now listen to this, we discussed this yesterday. This is so beautiful. Srimati Kunti Devi wished that Shri Krishna should remain with her sons, the Pandavas. But by doing so, her paternal house, through her brother's side, her paternal house would be bereft of the benefit of Krishna's association. Remember, yesterday we saw how Kunti Maharani, in her overwhelmed state of prem, love, she could not think about the Dwarkavasis. That she is wanting Krishna to be with her, but that means the Dwarkavasis will have to face more separation from Krishna. But now that reality has dawned on her. What am I praying? I'm praying so selfishly that I want Krishna for myself. What about my brother, Vasudeva Maharaj? What about Devaki? What about Rohini? What about his queens, Rukmini, Satyabhama and others? What about Krishna's sons, grandsons? They must be all feeling such separation from him. Suddenly she's overwhelmed with guilt. So she's saying, for my sake and for my family, Pandu's sake, Pandava's sake, I want Krishna to stay here. But that means I'm giving pain to my brother's family. So now she's in a dilemma. She's in a dharma sankat. And therefore she's saying, what to do? Let me just cut my ties to both the families. I don't want Krishna. I'm just torn between the two families. My duty to my family, the duty to my brother's family. You know what, Krishna? Just cut off both the ties. Aha, this is so beautiful. I'm reading it again. Srimati Kunti Devi wished Sri Krishna to remain with her sons, the Pandavas, but by doing so, her paternal house would be bereft of the benefit. All these partialities troubled the mind of Kunti, and therefore she desired to cut off the affectionate ties. Hari Bol. Vaishnava Kriya Mudra, very difficult to understand the heart of a Vaishnava. So, but the heart of Vaishnava is so beautiful. Next paragraph. Srila Prabhupada continues, a pure devotee cuts off the limited ties of affection to his family and widens his activities of devotional service for all the forgotten souls. What a very brilliant point. Now, Srila Prabhupada gives another dimension to why Kunti Maharani is saying, cut off my family ties, Krishna, cut off my family ties. There are 4 reasons Srila Prabhupada is going to give in this purport. The third reason now is that, so first reason was what? That sometimes householders are obliged to ask, but that is asking from Krishna is not ahaituki bhakti, it's a deviation from the standard of Uttama Bhakti, because Uttama Bhakti is Anya Abhilashita Shunya. Therefore, Kunti Maharani says, I just cut off my household ties. Second reason was that she was torn between her attachment to both the families. If I keep Krishna in Hastinapur, then Dwarka suffers. If Krishna goes to Dwarka, then Hastinapur suffers. You know what? Krishna is cut off both the ties. It's the second reason. Now, third reason. A pure devotee cuts off the limited ties of affection to his family and widens his activities of devotional service for all forgotten souls. What is Srila Prabhupada trying to say is, we have family attachments. So we have to preach, right? So we say, you know what? Let me preach to my children. Let me preach to my parents. Let me preach to my wife. Correct? And this is good. This is our family responsibility. It is good. But what is better? What is better? Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. To consider the whole world as a family. And why preach to one family? Let me preach to thousands and thousands of families all over the world. Let me become a Parivrajaka like Srila Prabhupada. Not like Srila Prabhupada, but follow in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada. And no one can be like Prabhupada. No bhuto na bhavishyati. This world has not seen an acharya like Srila Prabhupada. Never. Going to all the continents, preaching to the Mlechas and Yavanas, such efficacy in 11 years. This world has never seen such an acharya. Never. Even Shripad Narad Muni comes when Srila Prabhupada would do Nam Sankirtan in New York to witness how Krishna consciousness, Krishna Bhakti has come to the Western world. But we can follow in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada, who is Parivrajaka. That is even greater. Instead of giving compassion to one family, give compassion to the whole world. That's even higher service. So Srila Prabhupada is saying, therefore a devotee, pure devotee like Kunti Maharani sometimes says, cut off my ties. Why be limited to attachment to one family? Let me be attached to delivering everyone. Let me take the burden of delivering everyone. Please raise your hand and tell me an example of this from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Quick.
Vasudeva.
Amrit Karan Prabhu.
Vasudev Vipra, he actually prayed to
Vasudev, not Vasudev Vipra. Vasudev Vipra had leprosy.
no, Vasudev, his name was also Vasudev. He
What
actually
was his
prayed
last
to
name?
Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Vasudev Ghosh.
No, Vasudev Ghosh was a singer.
Vasudev Dutt.
Singer.
Vasudev Datta, yes.
Vasudev Datta, Vasudev.
Not Vasudev Vipra, not Vasudev Ghosh. Vasudev Vipra was the leper who Mahaprabhu cured. Vasudev Ghosh was the brother of Madhav Ghosh, the singer, and Govinda Ghosh, 3 brothers. And Vasudev Datta. Vasudev Datta. Yes, continue, Prabhuji. Amrit Karan Prabhu.
Oh, yeah, Vasudev Datta actually, he prayed to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that I can go to the hell for Italy, but you just deliver all over the world. All the living entities, please deliver all of them. They are suffering a lot.
This is what
He prayed like that way.
Yes, Prabhu.
It's
Yes.
very charming. It's very rare.
Very rare, very rare. I want to take the sins of
Very rare. And
all the living entities
yeah.
for eternity. Let me suffer eternally, but let
Yeah.
everyone go back to Godhead.
Got it. And I, yeah,
Yes, Shamchandra Prabhu
eternally.
he was an incarnation of Prahlad Maharaj. Very nice. Very nice. Yes. Thank you. So third reason is what? A pure devotee cuts off the limiting ties of affection to his family and widens activities of devotional service for all forgotten souls. And Srila Prabhupada gives wonderful example. The typical example is the band of 6 Goswamis, our Goswami Gana, who followed the path of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, they did this. Tyaktva turnam ashesha mandalapati shrenim sada tuchchavat bhutva dina ganesha kau karunaya kaupi nakantha shrito gopi bhavarasamrita bhilahari kallola magnau muhur vande rupa sanatanau Raghuyugau Shri Jiva Gopalakau Tyaktva Turnam Ashesha Mandalapati Shrenim Sada Tuchchavat. The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, they came from very well-to-do families. Specifically 3 of them. 4 of them. Rup Sanatan, Jiva Goswami, of course, being their nephew, and Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Bhatta Goswami and Gopal Bhatta Goswami also came from very aristocratic Brahman families, very cultured Brahman families, who were also not poor. They were very comfortable financially. And all of them came from nice, well-to-do families, but they gave up everything. Tuchchavat, considering it insignificant, material prosperity, insignificant. Gopi Bhava Rasamrita, but they wanted Gopi Bhava Rasamrita, the nectar of Gopi Bhava. So like that. They also gave up everything. For why? To make the whole world Krishna conscious. The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan gave up their families. They could have stayed in the family and preached to their family. But one cannot become, a worldwide preacher. One cannot become a worldwide preacher if one only wants to preach to the family. So they gave up their family ties so that they could travel and preach everywhere. So that example is given. Srila Prabhupada gives another example of Lord Ramachandra, who cut off the tie of affection to his own wife, Srimati Sita Devi, to manifest the qualities of an ideal king. As a king, it was his responsibility to teach the principle that one should be willing to give up one's own family members to set a right example for society. If the example is being misused and misinterpreted and it is creating a wrong precedent in the society, then one should be willing to give up even one's own family member. Although it was not required, it was not justified, but still Lord Ramachandra took that step to show the principle that if we accept the responsibility of a king or a ruler, with that responsibility comes a lot of, with that power comes a lot of responsibility to be the good example. Like that. So that's the third reason. Now, a fourth reason also is given here why Kunti Maharani is praying like that. Let's read the last paragraph. The Lord is addressed as the Lord of the universe or the Lord of the universal mind, indicating his all-powerful ability to cut the hard knot of family affection. Therefore, it is sometimes experienced that the Lord, out of his special affinity toward a weak devotee, breaks the family affection by force of circumstances arranged by his all-powerful energy. By doing so, he causes the devotee to become completely dependent on him and thus clears the path for his going back home, back to Godhead. So in essence, Kunti Maharani is saying that if my family relations are gone, then I will have no other relationship with Krishna except you. I will have no one else to turn to except you. And when a devotee has nothing, completely dependent on Krishna, then that opens up the path back home, back to Godhead. This is the fourth reason Kunti Maharani is saying. So we discussed the example of that devotee in Jagannath Puri, whose money, passport, everything was stolen in the Rath Yatra. And he was reflecting that brought me to the point of Sharanagati. Hey Krishna, hey Jagannath, I'm totally dependent on you. So now from the Shastras, please raise your hand and give examples of this fact. I'm going to read the sentence again. Listen carefully. The example should correspond to this, okay? Don't give wrong examples. So listen carefully first. It is sometimes experienced that Krishna, out of his special affinity toward a weak devotee, breaks the family affection by force of circumstances arranged by his all-powerful energy. By doing so, he causes the devotee to become completely dependent on him and thus clears the path for him going back home, back to Godhead. Mukta Sangha Prabhu.
Yasyaham anugrhnami harishye tadhanam shanayi tad adanam jayanti yasya swajana dukkha dukkina.
Perfect. And this is for which devotee?
It applies to all of us.
Yeah. No, the question is, see, Srila Prabhupada is saying, it is sometimes experienced that that Krishna, Lord Krishna, out of his special affinity towards a devotee, breaks the family affection by force. So I want example of a devotee whose family ties were forcefully broken by Krishna to bring them to the point of Sharanagati. No problem. You quoted the right verse, and that is a correct answer. Let's see some more. Kalindi Priti Mataji. Hare Krishna.
So Prabhuji, Narada Muni.
Very nice. Very nice.
Narada Muni.
Which family relation was cut off by Krishna forcefully?
His mother left his body
Yeah.
because of snake bite.
Yes.
And then he has no other choice except surrendering unto the lotus of Krishna.
Jai Ho, Jai Ho. Yes. Ladini Gopika Mataji, you have been hiding for a long time.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada, he's a pure devotee, but the pastime was enacted for our benefit.
Yes, yes. Tea or me? That pastime was there. Yes.
Yes.
Sarojanandini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I was also going to say Srila Prabhupada as the example.
But now you have to give another example. Think of some devotee who suddenly was plucked out away from his family, but got Krishna. Very attached to the family. Think. Okay, we can come back. You do like this. Raise your hand when you think. Amrit Gaurangi Mataji.
Can we give the example of Dhruva Maharaj when his...
Yes. Yeah, actually, Gopal is sitting here. He also gave the same example. Yes, very nice. Dhruva Maharaj, how he was plucked out of his family. Very nice. Okay. Satyarupa Mataji and Janani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Can we take the example of Sati Sakubai?
Hare Krishna. Sakubai from Maharashtra?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Her in-laws were not at all favorable for her, and even her husband was not favorable.
Yes. Very wonderful example. Very extreme example. Yes, thank you. That is very nice. Shreya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, Gajendra.
Yes, I was waiting for this example. Isn't that a classical example? How he was enjoying on a picnic with his family, enjoying in the water. He was sprinkling his family members with water with his trunk, and boom, lost everything suddenly. Yes, so like that, there are many examples. Sandeep Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I was thinking of this. Did it happen to this Avanti Brahman as well?
Yes, wonderful example. Beautiful example. Yes, Avanti Brahman. Parima Mataji.
Prabhuji, I don't know if I can give this. I have like two examples in my mind. One is Chitraketu Maharaj. I don't know if it's...
Yes, very wonderful example. Yes.
Chitraketu Maharaj, and one is a great saint from Maharashtra, Gnaneshwar. Saint Gnaneshwar. He was also in the family was taken away and they were by themselves with their siblings. I know that's the whole story.
Okay. So from Sant Gnaneshwar, let's go to Janeshwar Gauranga Prabhu. Janeshwar Gauranga Prabhu.
Can we think of Ajamil? When the Yamduta came, Vishwaduta came and then...
Yes, another very classic example. So yes, that is also nice. After that, he never bothered about his wife and son. He just went to Badrinath and did bhajan there. Purnima, you have one example, beta?
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, from Ailgita Purava.
Yes, very good example. Pururava Maharaj sang the Aila Geet in the 11th canto. 9th canto describes the story. Our Ajay Govind Prabhu has also given example of Bali Maharaj. Yes, that is also a nice example. Lost everything. Mukta Sangha Prabhu has said Harishchandra, King Chitraketu. So like that, there are many examples. Even our, if I remember correctly, I'm getting confused between Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj and Vamshidas Babaji Maharaj. One of them, it was definitely Vamshidas Babaji Maharaj. He was in Bangladesh. He was married and his wife died. And he was born in a fisherman family. After his wife died, he just left, renounced everything, came to Navadvip and became a Babaji, took Babaji Bhesh. Got it. So that his wife died before he had any children. So that was a great mercy of Krishna. Yasyaham anugranami, as Mukta Sangha Prabhu rightly said. So that is the fourth reason. She's saying that just take away all these bonds so that I will have nobody but you, Krishna, and then I will get you. Verse number 42.
Can this, sorry. So can this example be suit in this context? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself? I'm just, because his wife.
Mahaprabhu is,
I know, but
our Ishtadev. Mahaprabhu is teaching as an Acharya. He's our Acharya also. So yes, Mahaprabhu is teaching us that one has to give up the bonds of affection to the family to widen our mercy on the whole world. Absolutely. Your example is correct, Mukta Sangha Prabhu. It's just very painful. Very painful. Yeah. Even Prabhupada's example is very painful. Prabhupada went through so much. He was born in Calcutta, brought up in Calcutta. His parents showered him with so much love. Mother Rajni and Shri Gaur Mohan De. And after he took the decision that he wants to go to America, he left Vrindavan, came to Bombay, begged Sumati Morarji Mata for a free passage on the cargo ship. He got that ticket and then came to Mayapur, took blessings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Yoga Peeth, took blessings of Sri Advaita Acharya and Sita Thakurani at their house in Shantipur, came back to Calcutta and was waiting to board his Jaladuta ship. He came back to Calcutta. Look at Srila Prabhupada's journey. He was born in Calcutta. He went to Allahabad. He went to Bombay. He went to Vrindavan. Vanaprastha, Sannyas, did bhajan in Vrindavan, printed his books in Delhi, Agra. So much he struggled. Finally, he went back to Bombay, went to Mayapur, and finally, now he's back in Calcutta. His life has gone a full circle. He was born in Calcutta, grew up as a brahmachari, grahastha in Calcutta, and now as a sannyasi, he has come to Kolkata. And now there is nobody to receive him. There is nobody even to help him pick up his trunks to board the Jaladuta ship. Such difficulties. After sannyas, he had nothing. But one of his sons, the late Shri Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu, he came and he helped Prabhupada put his trunks on the ship. The books were loaded in Bombay later on the east coast, on the west coast. But the ship started from the east coast, from Calcutta docks. But there was nobody with Srila Prabhupada. In that same city where he was raised with so much love and affection. Just see how life changes. Can you imagine how Srila Prabhupada must have felt? I grew up in this city, went to the best schools, and so much love my parents. I wanted 2 guns, plastic guns, and my father bought me 2 guns. So much pampering. And with all the neighbors would make kachoris for me because I liked kachoris. Now that same city I have come and there is nobody. Nobody who even knows me. Nobody who cares for me. I'm an old man. I'm 69. I'm going to board this ship. I might die in the cold America. And nobody will even notice that such a Swami had gone and died. Such struggles, yes. The example of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada is there to teach us, but they are very painful examples. Correct examples.
In this regard, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj always used to say that none of us can understand what Srila Prabhupada experienced And when people would ask the reason, he said that none of us is 70 years yet.
Hari Bol, yes.
We cannot imagine those troubles now because, our body is quite active and young.
Very true. Very true. Very profound statement. Thank you.
Can we give the example of Sridhar Swami Maharaj? When Sridhar Swami, the original commentator.
Oh, yes. What a dramatic story that was. Yes, absolutely. Leaving a newborn child on the floor. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Yes, Prabhu. Shamchandra Prabhu, thank you for reminding. That is such a strong example of that. Yes. So everybody got the 4 reasons why Queen Kunti prays like this, that cut off my bonds. Okay, so now raise your hands and 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's quickly go through these 4 reasons. Who wants to tell the first reason? Shamchandra Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. So reason 1 was, Prabhupada says that sometimes householders are bound to ask for some favors for their family members. But then that is not real bhakti. Even though you ask Krishna, the real bhakti is real costless, ahituki bhakti. So Queen Kunti wanted to follow the path of ahituki bhakti.
Wonderful.
Therefore, she wanted to cut off the ties. Reason number 1.
Wonderful. Thank you, Prabhuji. Then second reason, Sundari Gopi Mataji.
Prabhuji, to cut the partiality attitude that we have towards our family members.
Yes, very good. Then Sarojanandini Mataji.
A pure devotee cuts off the limited ties of affection for expanding and widening his activities of devotional service.
Wonderful, wonderful. And lastly, Ladini Gopika Mataji.
The Lord is addressed as the Lord of the universe, and it indicates his all-powerful ability to cut the hard knot of family affection.
And then what will happen as a result of that? See the last line of the purport.
Become completely dependent on him, and thus clears the path for us going back to God.
Yeah, correct. We will not have Anya Ashray. There will be no other Ashray left. Okay. So now I was going to do one more verse, but it's already 9:35. So I think we will wait because this is a very long purport and Prabhupada makes many wonderful points here. So we'll stop. We'll continue from, I was going to finish the chapter, but I think that was over ambitious because there are 52 verses and we are still on 42. We have still 10 more verses to go. So we'll continue on Tuesday. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Let's meditate on these beautiful prayers of Srimati Kunti Devi. So many wonderful points Srila Prabhupada is making in the purports. And we'll continue next time on Tuesday. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If there are any questions, we can take. Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for this beautiful.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, always we hear this point about the occupation of fishing. So many, even in Shastras, we see that they were married to fisherman's daughter, like that. So, but no, it is not correct from the 4 regulative principle. So how to see this occupation and how to understand this stories. Even Lord Shiva married to Parvati Devi, she's fisherman's daughter, like that. If I'm not correct, I'm not very sure like that.
So the example of Satyavati is there in Mahabharata. Like you rightly said, she married Shantanu Maharaj. And so these examples are there. But these professions are not conducive for pure devotional service because fish eating is not for Vaishnavas. And we see Satyavati's father's mentality was very materialistic. He would give his daughter in marriage only when Bhishma Dev promised that only his, Satyavati's child will become the heir to the kingdom. Things like that. But anyway, sometimes a devotee may be born in a fisherman family, But these, according to Vedic culture, these are considered to be the lower castes, lower background. It is not a background that is anukul for practice of pure devotional service. So the pure devotee will not eat anything that Krishna does not eat, and Krishna does not accept fish. So there is no question of a Vaishnava being engaged as a fisherman. But sometimes some devotee may be in such a family and may be engaged for some time. Vamshidas Babaji Maharaj was a fisherman for some time. He actually used to catch fish, but he gave that up. He gave that up and came to Navadvip. And not that after coming to Navadvip, he was still catching fish in the Ganga. No, he gave that up. Now he's a pure Vaishnava. He would do Madhukari and maintain himself. So it is definitely not the path of pure devotional service. But at the same time, it is possible that some Vaishnavas may appear in such low families. But Shipram Bhavati Dharmatma. They will soon come to the righteous path, like Satyavati came after coming in contact with Parashar Muni. Her body lost that fishy smell, fishy odor, became fragrant. And then she eventually came to Hastinapur and became a very, very wonderful mother of Srila Vyasadeva and motherly figure in the Kuru dynasty. And thereby she attained higher destination. So like that we can understand that some devotees may appear, but generally the rule is that Vaishnavas don't engage in activities like fishing and fish eating. Srila Prabhupada, in Prabhupada Lilamrit, it is clearly mentioned, Srila Prabhupada was very pained when he saw that certain pujaris, pandas in Jagannath Puri were eating fish. You remember reading that in Prabhupada Lilamrit? Prabhupada, he was very shocked to see that. So definitely it is not approved by our acharyas. It is not eaten by Krishna, and a pure devotee will never eat anything that Krishna has not eaten. Never. So therefore it is not the path of pure devotional service.
And Parvati Devi being a fisherman's daughter is something that I'm not
I don't
very
know.
sure.
As far as I know, Parvati is the daughter of the mountain.
Okay.
But I have not read this Leela that Parvati Devi was the daughter of a fisherman. But even if so, just like Satyavati, it's a Leela. And but that is not Nitya Dharma. It will be given up. Parvati Devi at Kailash is not engaged in catching fish. So it's not Nitya Dharma. It may be a Leela, they may appear in that family. But a devotee will soon give that up and a platform of pure devotional service.
Okay.
It's not a justification. It's not catching fish, being a fisherman and eating fish is not for Vaishnavas.
Yeah.
Not for Vaishnavas.
Sometimes we hear like in such areas it is considered as vegetarian because they don't have anything else to eat. So all those things are not actually correct with
If
in our.
there is truly nothing else to eat, then one may eat. Truly, if there is nothing else to eat, we are stuck on an island and there is nothing else, then it's a different thing. But in the coastal area, there are so many devotees. I mean, Jagannath Puri is a coastal place, and there is no mention that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya made fish for Mahaprabhu when he would invite him and cook 56 items, nor is fish offered to Jagannath in the Chappan Bhog. So yeah, one may live on the coastal. Just because something is available does not make it justified. One may live near a disco and say that, well, this is, or some may live in Las Vegas and say, oh, here there is a casino on every street. What to do? The only recreation I have is casino. So that will not make gambling permissible in the Vaishnava society, just because it is available. So just because fish is available near the coast doesn't make it. It cannot be approved by the Vaishnava society, because none of our, neither does Bhagwan eat it, nor do any of our acharyas eat it. So no, it's not allowed. It's not okay. Some devotees may appear like Nishad Raja, Guha. So many of the people, subjects, citizens in his kingdom were hunters. So such Leela, but he was a very great devotee. So sometimes a devotee may be having such a background but it is not the general rule, and it is not something that is allowed. Now, certain devotees may have birth in a species where they are allowed to eat, like Garudji. Garudji is not vegetarian, but he is a Nitya Siddha Mahabhagavat. He eats snakes and like that. So, but these are exceptions. For human beings, we have been told Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam very clearly. So even Lord Ramachandra, Phalamula Shinodanto Tapaso Brahmacharino Putro Dasharatha Saito Bhrataro Rama Lakshmano. It is clearly mentioned that Phala Mula Shinodanto Tapaso Brahmacharino. They would eat fruits and roots in the forest, even though in the forest so much meat eating is available, hunting is available. Lord Ram and Lakshman and Sita never ate meat. Phala Mula Shinodanto Tapaso Brahmacharino. Putrau Dasharathasaito Bhrataro Rama Lakshmana. Very beautiful. So therefore we have to be vegetarians. A Vaishnava means vegetarian. Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Not Matsyam Andam. No. Okay?
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Amrit Gaurangi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams. So Prabhu, I don't know if you already answered this question, and if you have answered, I can refer to the past videos. But my question is, it is said that people who don't have boys or who don't have children, they don't get liberated. So how should a Vaishnava understand that? And is it applicable for people who are studying the science of Krishna consciousness?
It is not at all applicable. We don't depend on children to deliver us. We depend on Krishna's mercy. In Bhagavad Gita, nowhere Krishna says that you will be delivered, produce a son. Krishna says, Man mana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evashyasi. That is a formula to go to Krishna. Mam evashyasi. Krishna says, if you think of me, you become my devotee, you bow down to me, you worship me, you will come to me. There is no mention of you produce a son and let him do pindadan, then you will get liberated. No, it is not. That is not what we depend on. It is there, part of the Vedic culture, pindadan and antyeshti kriya and all that is there. But that is part of the Sanatan Dharma. Yes, no doubt about it. Mahaprabhu also went to Gaya to perform the Kriya. But that is not the main focus. When Haridas Thakur left this world, Mahaprabhu was dancing with the dead body of Haridas Thakur. Sannyasi is not supposed to touch. A dead body is considered to be contaminated. Mahaprabhu is dancing, holding the dead body of Haridas Thakur. And is not willing to keep him down. The sun is setting. The sun is setting, the Antyeshti Kriya has to be performed. Swarup Damodar Goswami says, Mahaprabhu, sun is setting, we have to, before the sun sets, we have to perform the last rite. Mahaprabhu is in ecstasy. So devotees, we depend on Krishna's mercy. Krishna's mercy comes through Nam Bhajan and Vaishnava Seva. Prabhu kahe, Vaishnava Seva, Nam Sankirtan, Dui Karha, Shigra Pabe Shri Krishna Chara. So we devotees don't depend on this. This is karma kand, having a son and son doing pindadan for us. It is total karma kand. It can take us up to heaven, maybe liberation, but devotees don't care for liberation. Devotees only care for seva. Mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhakti rahetu ki. So it doesn't apply to devotees. It is on the karma kandi marg, and we are not on the karma kandi marg. We are on the path of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is bhaktya tushyati kevalam nacha gunaya bhakti priyamadam. Like that. Haridas Thakur had no children. Our Goswamis had no children. They were Naishtik brahmacharis. So they had no children. So what to speak of going back to Godhead? Radharani herself would come and hold the pallu over Raghunath Das Goswami when he was feeling hot. Not about going back to Godhead. Godhead is coming to shower love on these devotees. So that is our path, the path of love. Anurag Marg. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Sharmishtha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Thank you so much for such a wonderful session. प्रभुजी मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि पहले मैं एक चीज जो भगवती वसुधा माता जी ने पूछा था वो फिश के बारे में, तो आई वांट टू शेयर समथिंग आई हर्ड व्हिच इज लाइक यू सेड जगन्नाथपुरी में पंडाज वो लोग नॉनवेज खाते हैं, तो इवन हम लोग भी देखे हैं बहुत सारे पंडाज लोग सिर्फ फिश नहीं बहुत सारे नॉनवेज खाते हैं सब टाइप के, तो एक बार हमने पूछा था कि आप लोग जगन्नाथ की सेवा करते हो तो आप कैसे नॉनवेज खाते हो, ये तो गलत बात है ना। तो व्हाट ही रिप्लाइड कि आपको नहीं पता और बहुत सारे लोगों को ये नहीं पता है, एक सीक्रेट रिचुअल होता है टेम्पल में जो जगन्नाथ के सामने फिश ऑफर किया जाता है। आई डोंट बिलीव दिस कि ये होता है एक्चुअल में, लेकिन उन्होंने मुझे इससे बोला था, बट आई एम नॉट श्योर अबाउट इट। सो ऐसा कुछ रिचुअल होता है कि नहीं। लेकिन जो बिमला देवी होते हैं उनके मंदिर में दशहरा के टाइम पे बलि दिया जाता है। ये अभी भी चलता है, मतलब थोड़े साल से बंद हुआ है, लेकिन वो तो वैष्णवी है प्रभु जी। तो वैष्णव का जैसे आहार से प्रसाद होता है तो उनको कैसे ऑफर किया जाता है?
Yeah, so this our acharyas have clearly mentioned that although Durga Devi is offered animals in sacrifice, Durga Devi never eats it because she's Vaishnavi. One of her names is Vaishnavi. She will never eat it. But the ghosts and spirits who accompany, they may eat, but she never eats. Lord Shiva never eats like that. And as far as the rituals are concerned, we don't criticize anybody. The pandas may be eating fish. They may be doing whatever they do. That is their parampara. Their sampradaya is different, Mataji. They come in a different sampradaya and we come in a different sampradaya. We follow our acharyas. We follow our ishtha. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very clearly said that we follow Ekadashi. We don't eat meat. We are pure vegetarians. And we eat whatever is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are so many detailed descriptions of what Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu used to eat in the house of Advaita Acharya, in the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Bas, that's what we eat. From Raghav Pandit, from Jagadananda Pandit, what they would cook for Mahaprabhu. Bas, we read those descriptions, we feel happy. In the Bhaja Bhakata Vatsala Shri Gaura Hari Bhajan, the Bhoga Arti Bhajan by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, just read that bhajan. That is what Radha and Krishna eat. Detailed description is given, what all they eat. That's what we eat. Our acharyas, our ishtha, whatever they eat, whatever they recommend, that's what we eat. As far as the Jagannath Puri Pandas are concerned, they are following their tradition, and that's between them and Jagannath. But what Mahaprabhu has told us, that's what we do. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Matamidam Tatra Dharana Para. Even if Krishna comes and says eat, we will not eat. Because we follow Mahaprabhu. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's it. Prabhupada has said no. Even if Krishna comes and says we will not eat. Because Prabhupada has told us, no meat eating. So that takes precedence. That takes precedence. Guru. Guru Gobind dono khade kaake lagu paaye. Balihari Guru jo Gobind diyo bataye. If Guru and Govind both come, we listen to Guru. Because it is because of Guru only that we have got Govind. There is a story in Bhaktamal, in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. There was a very great Acharya in the Radharaman line called Madhusudan Babaji Maharaj. And in Bengal, there was a boy called Nityananda Das. And his parents brought him to Vrindavan for parikrama. When he was a small child, 5-6 year old, he fell in love with Vrindavan. He told his parents, I am not going back. I'm not going back. I want to become Brahmachari. I want to become Babaji. I want to stay in Vrindavan. So he went to this Madhusudan Das Babaji Maharaj and took Diksha from him. Took Diksha from him and became his personal servant. And he started making such spiritual advancement from the age of 5. He was in the ashram of his Gurudev, such pure, Naishtik Brahmachari. Later on, his Gurudev accepted 2 Matajis in the ashram. Young, beautiful girls. They were Brahmacharinis. And they took shelter of Gurudev. So then Gurudev gave them shelter. And this Brahmachari, Nityananda Das, he started doubting this decision by his Gurudev. He said, how can Gurudev allow these 2 young girls to live in the ashram alongside me? I am Brahmachari. My Brahmacharya will get bhrashta if I associate closely. Because we are staying in the same ashram, we are serving the same Guru. So much interaction is there. I don't like this. I have to protect my vairagya, to protect my renunciation. I must move out. So whenever he didn't have the courage to speak to his Guru directly, but in his mind, he was seeing faults in his Guru. That this is a wrong decision my Gurudev took. Whenever sadhus would come to visit his Gurudev, he would take them to the side and ask, Gurudev has kept these 2 young girls, what to do? I don't think it's a good decision. And they would assure him, Baba, don't overthink. Vaishnava Kriya Midra Bhugyana Virya. Your Gurudev is a Mahabhagavat Babaji. Just have faith. Whatever brahmacharya you are able to follow, it is because of his pratap, by his mercy. Don't try to question and judge your Gurudev. He may keep brahmacharinis, he may not keep brahmacharinis, he may keep grahasthas. That is his lookout. You stay, you be surrendered to your Guru, you do what your Guru has told you. Don't judge your Guru. But Nityananda Das did not listen. He just didn't like the fact. He said, nowhere else in Vrindavan, any Babaji has kept girls in the ashram. Why he has given shelter to these two brahmacharinis? Those two brahmacharinis were very pure. So once he asked another sadhu. The sadhu said that the relationship, now listen carefully, the relationship between God brother and God sister is more pure than the relationship between a real brother and a real sister. We will never think illicit about a real brother or a real sister, right? But the relationship between a God brother and God sister is even purer. We should never think about illicit relations with God brother and God sister. They are more than real brother and real sister. But still Nityananda Das did not listen. He still thought that, no, I am a brahmachari, it should be exclusive brahmachari ashram. Even Prabhupada was told like that. That why we should hear Yamuna Devi's Govindam Adi Purusham prayers for Shringar Arti in the morning. We are sannyasis, we are brahmacharis. We should not hear a woman's voice. We should put some Prabhuji singing. Prabhupada told Yamuna Devi is on the platform of Bhāv. You are on the platform of Anartha Nivritti. You shut up and you listen. Your heart will become purified by listening to Yamuna Devi's beautiful voice. So in all ISKCON temples, it is Yamuna Devi's Govindam Adi Purusham. So like that. So Nityananda Das, he decided to give up the association of his Gurudev because he thought this is a wrong decision he has taken by keeping two brahmacharinis in the ashram. But because of doing this Guru Aprad, because of thinking in his mind that his Guru is wrong, he soon became a victim of lust. The lust in his heart started increasing, anartha started increasing. He could not focus on his Nam Japa. His number of rounds came down. He became spiritually quite sick. And one night he actually had very lusty thoughts. And he got up from his kutir, and next to his kutir were two kutirs of those two brahmacharini. Started walking towards their kutir. Hare Krishna. And he stopped in his tracks. So what am I doing? I'm in the ashram of my Guru. My Gurudev is there. I'm in his ashram and I'm walking towards the ashram of my God sisters with whom my relationship is supposed to be purer than a real brother and real sister. Dhikkar. Fie on me. I should be ashamed of myself. I'm such an apradhi. And this has happened because I did Guru Aprad, because I thought my Gurudev is wrong. So at that very moment, he left his ashram and he went to the bank of Manasi Ganga and started doing bhajan there. He thought, I will just chant the holy name, I will not eat or drink anything, and within a few days I will give up my body from starvation because I have committed such a grave aparad. He sits there and starts doing chanting without food, without water. Then he thinks people will see me and they will throw a roti at me. They will give me some water, they will give me some food. So he digs a hole in the ground and hides in almost like a cave so that nobody will see him. And he will just die of starvation. He spends 3 days like that. After that, one Babaji called Advaita Das Babaji, he sees him and he pulls out Nityananda Das, young brahmachari, pulls him out. He's become very weak. 3 days, no food, no water. So, let's take a message. So like that. So then he pulls him out and then says, what are you doing? Don't commit suicide by starvation. You cannot get Krishna by committing suicide by starvation. Please don't do that. Instead, you eat whatever madhukari you get and you chant the holy name. Continuously chant the holy name and your Guru Aprad will be forgiven. So he takes that to heart. He starts doing madhukari, stays on the banks of Manasi Ganga and day and night chants. Then after some time, he starts making quite spiritual advancement. He's able to focus on his name. But then whenever he thinks of his Gurudev, he loses his focus on the holy name. He loses his focus because whenever he thinks about the way he has offended his Gurudev. So then he's constantly thinking about his Gurudev. Gurudev, I've offended you, I've offended you, I've offended you. I did dosh darshan, I saw faults in you. Suddenly one day he gets a message from his Gurudev. One devotee comes and gives him the message that Gurudev is calling you. So he goes to meet his Gurudev and Gurudev says, you want to do Nirantar Nam Bhajan, you want to become a Bhajananandi Baba, you want to become a lifelong brahmachari, you want to become Babaji, no problem. But you cannot do that on your own merit. You need the blessings of your Gurudev, and you need the blessings of other Vaishnavas also. So his Gurudev, he arranged a feast where he invited all the Mahants of Vrindavan, all the sadhus of Vrindavan, and made everyone bless Nityananda Das. Bless him. He wants to chant Nirantar Jap. He wants to chant like Haridas Thakur, 3 lakh names every day, full day he wants to chant. He wants to become a Bhajananandi Baba. Please bless him. Please bless him. He held the hands of everyone and put them on his head. Please bless Nityananda Das. He's my boy. Bless him. Bless him. He sought the blessings of everyone. Everyone blessed him wholeheartedly. Everyone ate the feast. Then his Gurudev fed him the remnants of all the sadhus and personally blessed him. Beta, go now. Now your bhajan will be akhanda. There will be no break in your bhajan. Go and do bhajan now. Then he goes to the bank of Manasi Ganga and becomes a Siddha Baba. As he's chanting, he's able to have Roop Darshan of Krishna, Leela Darshan of Krishna, becomes very advanced, very advanced. And he does bhajan for a few more years like that. Becomes completely perfect. People come and take dust from his lotus feet. One day he gets a message from the same Advaita Baba that your Gurudev is calling you. Today is Sharat Purnima. He's going to give up his body tonight. He's going to enter the Nitya Leela. He wants to come and give you his last darshan. Please go to your Guru's ashram. He's going to enter the Nitya Leela. And Nityananda Das thinks, my Gurudev is going to enter Nitya Leela tonight, but I'm already seeing Nitya Leela when I'm chanting. I'm already having Leela darshan. Why should I go? So he says, I cannot give up my Chintan, my Leela Chintan, and I cannot go. Please excuse me. Sorry, I'm not able to go. I'm in too much ecstasy. And he stays there. He disobeys his Gurudev. Why? Because he has got Krishna. He has already got Krishna. He says, I will not go to take last darshan of my Guru. This is our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. Madhusudan Babaji Maharaj and Nityananda Das. So Nityananda Das does not go. And that very night, he loses all his focus, all his attention, all his Leela Chintan, all his Roop Chintan. He cannot see the Leela anymore. He cannot see Krishna anymore. And he cannot even focus on the holy name. Cannot even do mantra dhyan. Becomes very disturbed. From the highest level, he comes to the lowest sadhak level. In one moment, he says, what is going on? I cannot focus on the name. Where is Krishna? Where is Radharani? Where is the Leela? Everything has disappeared. He starts crying. Immediately he realizes, oh, again I did Vaishnava, Guru Aparad. Guru Aparad is the greatest Vaishnava Aparad. I offended my Guru. Immediately gets up, and that very night, on the night of Sharat Purnima, he runs to his Guru's ashram. But when he reaches, he realizes his Guru, they've already left his body. And the other disciples have already given him samadhi. He's buried. Oh, he starts crying and lamenting. What to do? What to do? Advaita Das Babaji Maharaj advises him that now only if your Gurudev comes back and forgives you, you will get your spiritual potency back. Go back to Manasi Ganga, which is the place your Gurudev had told you to do bhajan. Keep a asan. Imagine that your Gurudev is sitting, and day and night you chant. Eat little prasad, and day and night you chant. Don't sleep. Just chant, begging for the mercy of your Gurudev. Only if Gurudev blesses you, then you can get Krishna. Otherwise, you will never get Krishna. He does bhajan there for more than 50 years, my dear friends. And neither Gurudev comes nor Krishna comes. He's crying in separation because he has offended his Gurudev. After many years, his Gurudev gives him darshan. And he goes to touch the Guru's lotus feet. And the Gurudev says, wait. Krishna and Radharani have told me not to give you mercy because you have offended me. I want to give you mercy, but I cannot give because Krishna has said no. And the Gurudev disappears. At that time, Nityananda Das decides that now I must commit suicide. Now there is no hope. Now there is no hope. Gurudev was my last hope. Gurudev has said he cannot do anything. Now I have no hope. Now I must commit suicide. He goes to Manasi Ganga to drown himself and commit suicide. But Advaita Das Babaji Maharaj again stops him. He says, no, I know your Gurudev. He's testing you. Krishna may not allow, but Guru is more merciful than Krishna. You just continue your Nam Bhajan. Your Gurudev will forgive you. He does bhajan for one more year. On the next Sharat Purnima, the first day of Kartik, his Gurudev appears to him and says, my dear child, you are totally forgiven. Look, I have brought Radha and Krishna with me. And behind his Gurudev, he says Radha and Krishna. He says, come now, let's go back to the spiritual world. You can enter Nitya Leela. And holding his hand, Madhusudan Das Babaji Maharaj takes Nityananda Das Babaji into the Nitya Leela. And the devotees just found his dead body. He had entered the Nitya Leela. Nityananda Das Babaji Maharaj. So what do we learn from this story? That we should never do Guru Ravagya. What our Gurudev, our Acharyas have told, what Srila Prabhupada has told us, No matter what praman who gives, even to the extent, even if Krishna says, even if Lord Brahmaji comes and says, no, Srila Prabhupada has told us like this is what we will do. Yasya prasadad bhagavad prasad. Mad bhakta puja vyadika. Aradhanam sarvesham Vishnur aradhana param. Tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchana. That illiterate person in Sri Rangam did not know how to read Sanskrit Bhagavad Gita. Because Gurudev said, you sit and you read Bhagavad Gita. He is telling Mahaprabhu, I don't know anything, but Gurudev said, that's why I'm reading. Mahaprabhu was so happy with him. Because he was a Guru Sevak. So that's what we should do. Guru Seva. Our Acharya has told us, no onion garlic, no tea coffee, no meat eating. Even if someone comes and gives us the greatest praman, shows us from Shastra, this is there, that is there, this is bona fide, this is the... No. The whole world can eat meat, but I will not eat. Because Srila Prabhupada said no. That should be our nishtha. Okay? Sarmishtha Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. So wonderful story you have said. Prabhuji, do you have time? One just little confusion there. जैसे कुंती महारानी की स्तुति में जो रिलेशन हमारे संबंधियों के साथ होता है, जो अफेक्शन होता है, वो तोड़ने के लिए वो बोल रहे हैं. तो हम लोग कथा में इतना सुनते हैं और इतना प्रे भी करते हैं, कुंती स्तुति पढ़ते हैं, सब सुनते हैं, समझते हैं, लेकिन प्रैक्टिकली इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट. सो उसके लिए क्या कर सकते हैं प्रभुजी?
इसीलिए we should feel very humbled when we see the glorious example of great devotees like Kunti Devi, like Haridas Thakur, Vasudev Datta. We should feel very humbled that I am far, far away from the standard, and we should simply take more and more shelter. Just like a person who is very sick will take shelter of the doctor and the medicines, we should know we are very sick. And the only aushadhi we have is Harinam. We should chant with more surrender. Krishna, I cannot do it. It is impossible for me, but for you everything is possible. Daivesha gunamai mamaya durattaya. But mamevaya prapadyante mayametam. I cannot do it, but Krishna, you can do it. So Krishna, please, by your mercy, I can cross over. Machitta sarvadurgani mat prasadat tarishyasi. By Krishna prasad, by Krishna's mercy, we can do it. We cannot do it ourselves. So with humility and sharanagati, we should take shelter of the holy name and take shelter of the Vaishnavas association. Then it is possible to cut off those ties. Okay? Hare Krishna. Amrit Karan Prabhu.
Yeah, I got the answer actually. See, wonderful explanation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Sometimes people are telling that before the Pandavas, Arjuna also went for hunting deer to the forest, and other we could see in Ramayana sometimes. Lot of kingly person, they went for hunting now in the forest. But sometimes their hunting means they are also eating, but it's not like that. I got the conclusion from you.
Even if we see from the point of view of Shastra, whenever the different personalities in Shastra go for hunting, there is always some calamity. Dashrath Maharaj went for hunting, he killed Shravan. Then Lord Ramchandra went to get that deer and Sita Devi got kidnapped. The Pandavas went for hunting during Vanvas and Draupadi Devi was kidnapped by Jayadratha. See, every time Pandu Maharaj went hunting, he killed the Rishi and got cursed to die, and he died. Maharaj Pandu. Yeah. So every time, who was the brother of Satrajit, who was the Shamantak jewel and went hunting?
Yeah,
what was his name?
Brother.
Prasena. He went hunting, he got into trouble. You see, every time people go hunting, there is trouble. So we should not hunt. We should not kill animals. We should be vegetarian.
Wonderful. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Divya Mataji? Sorry.
But Prabhuji, Parikshit Maharaj went for hunting. He got a curse. He got Bhagavatam.
For devotees, there is nothing inauspicious. I'm just saying externally, if you see, the hunting causes problems. So yeah, of course, for the devotee, there is nothing inauspicious. Parikshit Maharaj got cursed, but got the highest destination. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So Divya Mataji, you have a question?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I wanted to ask you about Bible. My kids, they have Bible study in school, and then they asked me about why Jesus Christ gave fish, to his devotees or to his followers. Then also there's a verse in Bible that says that God gave, humans some kind of dominance over all the animals. And there are some Christians who also argue that as per Bible, we are allowed to eat anything that crawls on the face of the earth. So how do you explain that to kids, and how do you refute such arguments?
No, we don't refute. We don't refute. We accept that it is there. Even in our Vedic culture, there is room for meat eating. In Christianity, in Islam, there is room for meat eating. Yes, it is there. But it is not there in the Vaishnava Dharma. There are different levels. There is simple mathematics. 2 plus 2, 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. Simple addition, subtraction, multiplication, that is there. But when you go to higher levels of mathematics, then there is quantum physics, and there is calculus, and all those higher things are there, statistics and trigonometry. So similarly, initially, whatever falls on earth you eat, just thank God. Oh God, give us our daily bread, forgive our sins. So that is there, yes, and that is good. It is better than being an atheist. But then when a devotee becomes more and more refined, makes more and more advancement, then there are more details that are explained. For example, in Bhagavad Gita or Śrīmad Bhāgavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita or Hari Bhakti Vilas. And what are those details? They are meant for more spiritual advancement. That you only eat vegetarian food. That also you offer it to Krishna and eat. Instead of just thanking Krishna. Thank you, Krishna, for giving my daily bread. That is one level. But higher than that is Krishna, I'm going to feed you. And whatever you give me, after you have eaten, only that I will eat. That is higher. So yes, in Bible it is there. And Jesus Christ also, he sacrificed the Paschal lamb. That story is also there in the Bible. But that was clearly mentioned. They were traveling through a desert area. There was no food. The followers of Jesus Christ were dying. So he sacrificed the lamb. But Jesus Christ never said, open slaughterhouses. Where in the Bible it says that Jesus Christ said, open slaughterhouses, indiscriminately eat. No, thou shalt not kill. So even in Vedas, there are restrictions for eating meat. You can only eat on Amavasya, only after offering it to Chandi Devi, only by chanting mantras, which essentially mean that, oh, poor animal, today I am sacrificing you. In the next life, you can kill me. So that the person who is slaughtering and eating the meat will be discouraged and will eventually give it up. So all these restrictions are there in the Shastra, but there is no restriction for eating apples. There is no restriction for eating chapatis and rice in the Shastra. But there is restriction for eating meat. Why? Because meat eating is sinful. It is discouraged. A parent may say, okay, you can play video game, but no more than 1 hour. But there is no restriction for chanting. There is no restriction for going for walks and studying nice Bhagavad Gita, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. There is no rules for remembering Krishna. You can remember anytime. There is no restriction. So why there is restriction for meat eating? Because it is bad. It is discouraged. So an intelligent person will understand the language of the Bible, the language of the Holy Quran, the language of the Vedic literatures, that there is a room for meat eating, but it is discouraged. Everywhere it is discouraged. In Buddhism also it is discouraged. And what we are doing now with all the slaughterhouses, that is not recommended neither by Prophet Muhammad, nor by Lord Jesus Christ in the Holy Bible. Nobody recommends that, and not in the Vedic Dharma also. It is just plain sinful and wrong. So like that. So yes, there is room for meat eating, but it is not for us. It is not for Vaishnavas, because a Vaishnava is the highest spiritualist. It is the highest evolution of a spiritualist to come to the path of pure Vaishnavism, Uttama Bhakti. That's why it is called Uttama. It is the highest. There's nothing higher than that. And that's what Srila Prabhupada has come to give. That's what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave. For us, there is no room for meat eating. Others may do. That's between them and Jesus Christ. Hare Krishna. But we follow Srila Prabhupada and Mahaprabhu. Okay, Divya Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Also, I was wondering, like today we read so much about the meat from the slaughterhouse and how, how bad red meat is. And it says the animals are grown with some kind of growth hormone or antibiotics. So in medical world, why don't the providers discourage their, their patients that it is bad? I'm just wondering. Like we read that But
there are, you see, in medicine, you can practically justify anything. There are studies that show that smoking cigarettes is good for Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. There are two conditions, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, involving the bowel, and smoking is beneficial. So you can justify anything you want. You can publish a study that shows that drinking diet Coke helps you lose weight. And there are studies that show drinking, consuming artificial sweeteners leads to weight gain. And there are scientific explanations for both. By reducing the calorie intake, by taking 0 calories soda, you naturally cut down your calories and you lose weight. The other school of thought says that by drinking food that contains artificial sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose, it alters the microbiota in your gut and makes you absorb more calories and makes you actually put on weight. It stimulates the appetite, the sweet taste stimulates appetite, and you actually end up eating more. So there are studies published that show that eating artificial sweeteners leads to weight gain and eating artificial sweeteners leading to weight loss. Similarly, there are studies that show consuming red meat is harmful. And there are studies that show that consuming meat is good for you. That is material science. It's always confusing. And therefore, we don't look at what material science says. We look at what our Shastra says, what our Guru Varga says, and what the sadhus say. Hari, it is a Guru Sadhu Shastra. We go by them, not by what people say, the scientists say. Because today they may publish a study, say something, tomorrow they will refute that study and come up with a new recommendation. So are we going to keep changing? No. But Bhagavad Gita recommendations have not changed since eternity, and they will never change. And that's what we follow. Why the doctors don't discourage? I don't know. Maybe there is a incentive from the meat industry. Maybe they have their personal preferences. They like to eat meat, so they don't want to talk about it. But the reason we don't eat meat is not health reasons, Divya Mataji. This has to be very clear. We don't eat meat not because it's bad for health. That may be secondary. But we don't eat meat because Krishna doesn't like it, because Krishna gets displeased. That's why we don't eat eggs. That's why we don't eat meat. There may be an egg revolution in India. Roj khao, Sunday ho ya Monday, roj khao ande. There's advertisement on TV. But we are not vegetarians because of health reasons. We don't observe Ekadashi because of health benefit reasons. No. We are vegetarians. We don't eat onion garlic. We don't eat tea, coffee. We fast on Ekadashi only and only Samsiddhi Haritoshanam, because Mahaprabhu has requested that in Prema Vivarta. Jagadananda Pandit writes, Mahaprabhu has requested to please our Mahaprabhu, to please Srila Prabhupada, to please our Acharyas, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. For that reason, we are following this diet, Mataji. There is no other reason. We don't care what the health is. We don't care if we live or die. We don't care whether we live 40 years or 50 years or 80 years or 100 years. No. We are not after Mediterranean diet and keto diet and intermittent fasting. No. We want to live a lifestyle that will please Krishna. Samsiddhi Haritoshanam, nothing else. Mat prananathastu seva napara. We want to please Radha and Krishna. That's all. There is nothing in our life other than that. Radha Krishna Pranamor, Yugala Kishore, Jivana Marana Gati, Aranahi more. We just want to please Radha and Krishna. That is Sharanagati. Whatever pleases you, Krishna, that's what I want to do. Okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Last question, Parima Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this wonderful class. Prabhuji, one question is that Nityananda Das Babaji was such an exalted devotee who could see Leela, who had the, who basically had that, who did the Paschatap, basically atonement, that, I offended my guru. He already did that once, and then he became a Bhajananandi. After that, Prabhuji, how can some ego enter his mind and he offended his guru again? I mean, this is so surprising that a person who is so exalted, can fall down like this. Kind of surprising.
My Guru Maharaj, Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj writes, our International Society for Krishna Consciousness was established on the prayer of Srila Prabhupada. Ani acho jadi Prabhu amare nachate Nachao, nachao, Prabhu, nachao se mate. This international Hare Krishna movement of Srila Prabhupada was established on the basis of this prayer of Srila Prabhupada, this pure prayer of Srila Prabhupada on the Jaladuta, that Krishna, I am your puppet. Make me dance the way you want me to dance. So whatever we accomplish in our bhajan, whatever we accomplish in our spiritual life, it is because of Krishna. We are not the doer. It is by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. And when we think that I am the doer, then Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj says, those strings are cut. What will happen to a puppet when the strings are cut? Puppet who was dancing and the whole village was watching and clapping. Now that puppet is helplessly collapsed. When we think we are the doer, kartaham iti manyate, those strings are cut. So we have to be very careful how we think. And yes, it is possible to fall down even from the stage of bhav, which is just before prem. So all this Leela Darshan, Roop Darshan is happening by Guru Pratap, by Guru's mercy. This has to be very clear. Srila Prabhupada never considered himself the doer. He said, all this is happening by the mercy of my spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Repeatedly, Srila Prabhupada said, I am just his messenger. I am just his messenger. Gauravani Pracharine, giving credit to Mahaprabhu. But when we think we are the doer, I have got entrance into Leela, then strings can be cut. Chitraketu Maharaj fell down after having darshan of Lord Shankarshan, isn't it? So yes, we have a great danger. Bilwa Mangal Thakur fell down after being labeled Leela Shuka. He wrote beautiful verses. After that, he fell down, got attracted. So these examples are there to teach us. We don't want to judge Nityananda Das or Bilwa Mangal Thakur or Chitraketu Maharaj. No. Or Bharat Maharaj. We don't want to judge them. But these stories are there in the scriptures to teach us a lesson that from the highest platform also we can fall down. So we have to be always humble. Always humble. My Guru Maharaj, when he, last year, when he was, somebody was saying that, Maharaj, how is it that lifelong you have been a brahmachari? How is it? This devotee was, Western devotee was glorifying. He said, we lose in our teenage years, our brahmachari. How can you maintain it all your life? And Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj said that not yet. And then told the story of a villager, a village Babaji. He was a Bhajananandi Babaji. He had a beard. And there was always a boy who used to tease the Babaji. He would say, Babaji, this beard of yours, is it a beard of a sadhu or is it a beard of a bakri? Because even the goat, they have that goatee, that beard. So the Babaji would always, he was chanting, he would always say, I will tell you later. Again, next day he would come, Babaji, this beard is Babaji beard, sadhu beard, or is it a goat's beard? He would say, I will tell you later. Finally, this Babaji, he was about to die. He was on his deathbed chanting, his disciples were chanting. And this Babaji told one of his disciples, go and call that boy who used to tease me. The boy came and Babaji said that this is a sadhu's beard. Now I can tell you because I'm about to leave my body. But if I would have told you before and I would have had a fall down, then it would have been a goat's beard because goat is very attached to sense gratification. But now I can tell you by Krishna's mercy of my Gurudev, yes, this is a sadhu's beard. So Maharaj said like that, not yet. Yes, I am 71 years old, but not yet. Anything can happen. Maya is so strong. Whatever I have done, it is because of Srila Prabhupada's mercy, by the mercy of Krishna. So like that, we should never consider ourselves the doer. If we think that we are the doer, we forget the puppeteer and we think we are a very nice puppet. Those strings will be cut and will collapse. That is the lesson. ठीक है परिमा माताजी?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much. That means from the stage of bhav, you can fall down, but not from the stage of prema, right?
No, never. A devotee can never fall from the stage of prem. No,
okay,
it's not possible.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, dear devotees. We'll see you on Tuesday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.